In a sunlit title office in Charlotte, Olivia, 29, lifted her pen. 2 years of saving had led to this. Then Mark's voice cut through the quiet.
Stop. Don't sign that. A credit alert just came back. There's a $42,000 personal loan in your name that we didn't know about.
That's impossible. I've never applied for any loan, let alone a personal loan that size.
The alert read, Pine Hills Community Credit Union, opened 18 months ago, current, maxed, score drop, 80 points.
Pine Hills, wait. That's the credit union my mother Karen uses. She's been a member for 15 years.
The pre-approval terms are void. With this on your credit, we can't close at the original rate. You're 80 points short.
She forged my signature. My own mother put a $42,000 noose around my neck and pretended I'd never find out.
Miss, you're not signing anything today. You need to get to the credit union and find out what happened. I'll hold the file.
Olivia didn't argue. She walked past the elevator, out into the parking garage and slid behind the wheel. The credit union was 22 minutes away. She would get answers. 70 on the interstate, her knuckles white. The clock ticked seconds that felt like hours.
Karen bought a paper shredder right after Aunt Linda got sick. I never connected that until now.
Oh, just getting organized, sweetheart? Medical paperwork multiplies overnight, and you can't be too careful with identity theft.
She never let me see those medical bills. Not once. Just locked cabinets and hushed phone calls.
Exit 23. The credit union sat in a strip mall, a red brick betrayal waiting. She parked, killed the engine, and sat motionless for 10 beats. Then she stepped out. The lobby smelled of floor wax. Olivia walked to the teller, each step deliberate on the linoleum. She stated her social and asked for the original application for loan number 721. No small talk. The teller's smile tightened. She glanced at a door marked manager and reached for the phone. Olivia stood still, hands steady. Whatever was in that file, she'd read it herself. The office door opened and Brian, a manager in his late 40s, stepped out. His polo shirt bore the credit union logo, his smile a careful mask.
I need the original application for loan number 721, a $42,000 personal loan opened in my name.
That loan is active and current. Are you saying you didn't authorize it?
My social security number ends in 672. Check the signature on file. I've never set foot in this branch until today.
Come with me. We'll pull the file.
Inside the cramped office, he searched the loan record on his desktop. Opened 18 months ago, mailed in, no in-branch signature on file.
18 months. That's when Aunt Linda's chemo started. Mom never asked for help. She just stole my identity.
Brian disappeared through a rear door and returned a minute later with a manila folder sealed by a rubber band. He set it on the desk.
We don't show originals unless a fraud claim is filed. This better be legitimate.
Olivia carried the folder to the standing Hyatt counter in the lobby and opened it. Her own name was penned boldly at the top of the application. Beneath her printed name, Olivia's social and birth date were correct. Then her eyes hit the signature line.
The loop on the O is wrong. Mom always hooks it too far left, like she's stretching the letter sideways.
The address on file, 421 Meadow Lane, Karen's house. Disbursement account ending 871, solely in Karen's name. Olivia snapped the folder shut, the sound like a trap closing. She didn't look at Brian, just spoke through clenched teeth.
Brian, I need a notary. Now.
Hold on. We need to follow procedure.
This application was mailed in from my mother's address. The signature's forged. The funds went into her sole account. That's fraud, and you're going to notarize my affidavit right here.
Brian's face paled. He'd seen internal fraud reports go sideways before, but this was unfolding in his lobby.
The credit union will have to conduct its own investigation.
Olivia pulled a blank affidavit from her bag. She downloaded it on the drive and slid it across the counter with a pen. She uncapped the pen and began filling the blanks. Borrower name, Olivia. Loan number, 721. Fraud type, identity theft.
Forged signature, my mother's address, and the disbursement to her sole account. Every line is a criminal act.
Once you sign, I'll notarize it. But I have to warn you, this will trigger a formal investigation.
She signed with a clean, unhurried stroke. Brian stamped the seal next to her name, the impression crisp and final.
Keep the original. I need a copy for the credit bureaus and for the postal inspector.
Brian's fingers froze on the paper. The mention of the postal inspector turned a branch issue into a federal one.
The application was mailed. You're going to report mail fraud?
Mailed from 421 Meadow Lane. Yes, I'm reporting it. This doesn't get buried in a file.
The affidavit was now a matter of record. Olivia's next calls would trigger a cascade no one in Karen's house was expecting. She still had to call Mark, file disputes with 3 credit bureaus, and brace for the moment Karen realized her daughter had stopped the loan in its tracks. Brian gestured her back into his office, the door clicking shut behind them.
The loan's going to be flagged as fraud. The credit union absorbs the loss, $42,000 written off. But your mother's sole account will be frozen immediately. She'll find out within hours.
Good. She should know exactly what she opened in my name.
Olivia said it without heat. The heat had burned out somewhere between the closing table and this cramped office.
The application was mailed from her address. That's what makes this postal. We're required to report it.
He said it like a warning, as if she might not have understood the weight of the postal inspector.
I'm aware. I'll be contacting them myself. The credit bureaus, too.
Brian nodded, a short, defeated gesture. He opened the door. Olivia walked out into the cooling dusk, the affidavit in her bag, the credit union's wheels already turning. She slid behind the wheel, the affidavit crisp against her bag. Mark answered on the first ring.
Mark, it's Olivia. The loan, it's a forgery. My mother opened it at her credit union. I have a notarized fraud affidavit.
That's okay. I can re-pull your credit at 8 a.m. if the fraud suppression hits. We might save the terms.
Pull my credit at 8. I'll file disputes with the 3 bureaus tonight, and I'm mailing the postal inspector too.
20 miles away, Karen's phone lit up on her kitchen island, a banking alert. She grabbed it, coffee sloshing. The screen read, "Account frozen, fraud suspected." A red banner blinked below her balance, now 0. Karen's face drained. She dialed the credit union, got the after-hours recording, and hammered 0.
This is Karen. My account's been frozen. There's obviously been a mistake. You need to call me back immediately.
Olivia ended the call, the car humming beneath her. The dashboard clock read 6:17, the sky fully dark.
Tomorrow she'd fight for the rate. Tonight she just needed to drive and not think about her mother's voice.
Karen's phone buzzed again. She squinted at the credit union alert. The date matched her sister's hospital admission, and the pieces locked.
The only person who'd know the loan number is Olivia. She went to the credit union. She reported me.
She stabbed Olivia's contact, letting it ring. Then again, the calls stacked like ammunition. In the car, Olivia's phone buzzed against the seat. The screen flared. Mom, she didn't reach for it.
She'd call 47 times this week before understanding the word no.
The ringing stopped. A voicemail ticked in, read number 1 on the notification badge.
Olivia, what did you do? You need to call me right now. There is an explanation for all of this.
Olivia let the message play out to the beep, then pressed the side button, darkening the screen.
She wanted to hear the explanation, but not tonight. Tonight, she just wanted to get home.
She turned off the highway and drove the last miles home in silence, the phone dark on the seat beside her. Olivia pulled into a 7-Eleven lot and called the one relative who might explain.
It's Olivia. I found out about the loan. Mom forged my signature.
She listened as the aunt explained. The money had kept Linda alive through 2 rounds of chemo.
She never told me. She just let me look irresponsible while she paid bills.
The aunt confirmed Karen's own credit was too thin, so she'd used Olivia's social to get approved.
It wasn't shopping sprees, but that didn't make the forgery disappear.
Olivia ended the call. The convenience store's neon buzzed outside the window.
1 cancer diagnosis, and her mother became a felon. Where was the line?
She pictured Aunt Linda in the hospital bed, Karen desperate at her side. The image didn't excuse the fraud, it only showed how far her mother had fallen. Olivia put the car in reverse. The credit dispute still had to be filed. She wasn't calling her mother back. At 8:03 a.m., Olivia's phone chimed. The credit alert she'd been waiting for. Score recovery plus 78 points. Fraudulent loan suppressed. New score now qualifies for prime rates.
It worked. The system actually worked.
Before she could exhale, Mark's name flashed on the screen.
Olivia, your score is back. You're pre-approved at the original rate. Can you close Tuesday morning?
I'll be there.
She hung up, then immediately opened the dispute portals for the 3 credit bureaus. Within minutes, the last traces of the fraudulent loan were locked out of her credit profile. The disputes accepted.
Tuesday. 6 days, enough time to make sure Karen didn't sabotage anything else.
The closing was back on. Olivia poured a cup of coffee and sat down to wait for Tuesday, 6 days of silence before the next battle. Karen didn't wait for Tuesday that afternoon. She opened her text thread and let the fury pour out. The first, "You ruined me. After everything I did for you, this is how you repay me. Then, I needed that money for your aunt. She could have died because of you. And you've always been selfish. Even as a child, you only thought of yourself." Olivia read each message as it arrived, her thumb not moving from the screen.
She's reframing the whole past to make herself the victim. Every line is a confession wrapped in accusation.
At 4:17, the 47th call came in, the screen lighting up with Mom. Her thumb hovered over the block option, then pressed down. The number grayed out. The calls stopped. The silence settled heavier than the ringing had been.
No more interruptions. Tuesday is mine.
Tuesday morning, 9:02. Olivia walked into the same title office, the same mahogany table. Mark waited, a fresh folder before him.
Good morning, Olivia. Everything is ready, same terms as before the situation.
Let's not call it a situation. It was fraud, and it's been cleared. I'm ready.
She uncapped the same pen she'd almost used days before, each signature pressed deep into the paper, resolve in every stroke. Page after page, the stack dwindled. She didn't pause, didn't second guess. The last signature was sharpest.
That's it. Congratulations, you are a homeowner, Olivia.
Mark slid a key ring across the mahogany. 2 brass keys, a tag with the address. No fanfare, just a nod.
Thank you for holding the file, Mark. It meant everything.
She walked through the glass doors, the weight of the keys light in her palm. The Charlotte skyline glittered behind her.
The house was hers. The rest, the calls, the threats, the guilt, could wait.
She pulled into the driveway of a small craftsman bungalow, the sold sign still stuck in the lawn. The key turned smoothly in the lock. Inside, the air held fresh paint and pine cleaner. No footsteps but hers.
2 years of saving, 7 days of fighting fraud, and the silence here was louder than any voicemail Karen could leave.
She walked from room to room, her hand brushing the walls as if testing their reality. In the living room, she sank onto the floor, the bare hardwood cold beneath her. The house waited.
She dreamed her mother would help her unpack, laugh about the paint colors. Instead, this proof of everything Karen had stolen.
The tears came without warning, not for the loan, not for the fight, but for the mother who never existed. She let them fall, the sound muffled by the fresh paint and the stillness, a private storm in an empty room.
She'd won the house, but she'd lost the lie of a family. The house would have to be enough.
After a long time, she wiped her eyes and stood. Tomorrow she would unpack the first box. 3 days later, a cream envelope landed in her mailbox, the return address scrawled in Karen's tight script. The letter began, "I only did it because you wouldn't help your aunt. You have so much, and I have nothing now." It continued, "I am your mother. A mother does desperate things for her family. You could understand if you weren't so cold."
She still thinks she's the victim. Even on paper, her apology is a blade wrapped in tissue.
She set the letter on the kitchen counter, the words already cooling. The next morning, she wrote "refused" across the envelope with a black marker. The letters were blocky and final. She drove to the main post office. The same route she'd taken to the credit union. At the drive-by mailbox, she dropped it in, the metal hinge clanking shut. The letter was gone, sent back to 421 Meadow Lane with nothing but a stamp and a refusal.
She'd hear the silence before the postal inspector. That was enough.
A week after the refused letter, a heavy envelope arrived with a federal seal. Your case has been referred for criminal investigation. The subject may face federal fraud charges.
She could go to prison. This isn't just a frozen account anymore.
The evidence list included her affidavit, the mailed application, and the frozen account records.
She filed to fix her credit, not to send her mother to jail, but the line had been crossed the moment Karen signed her name.
She set the letter down, the words already beginning to settle into something irreversible.
If Karen had just asked, she would have helped, but she stole instead, and now the system would decide.
She pulled a folder from the drawer, labeled House Docs in her own neat writing. She slid the postal inspector's letter in, its edges flush with the other documents, the affidavit, the loan application. The folder closed with a soft thump. Outside, the sold sign still stood in the yard. A quiet Saturday. Olivia sat cross-legged on her living room floor, a notepad open to a guest list.
Small, close friends, and the team from work. Nothing that required pretending.
She opened her phone contacts to add the names to a text group. Her thumb brushed Mom, the number grayed out, still blocked.
She'd wear that tight smile, the one that always preluded a scene. Every conversation would twist into an interrogation.
The image of Karen in her living room, holding a wine glass and a grievance, flashed behind Olivia's eyes. She closed the contact without unblocking, then deleted the draft that included her. The group message went out, housewarming next Friday, 7 p.m., my place. Bring something if you want.
No separate note for her mother. No maybe next time. Just silence.
The invites were sent. Karen was absent from the list, but heavy in the space she'd never see. Friday evening, string lights crisscrossed the living room, and the porch glowed warm against the dusk. Guests arrived with bottles of wine and potted succulents. Laughter filled corners that had been silent for weeks. Olivia moved from group to group, accepting hugs, telling the story of the house without mentioning the loan.
She'd practiced the deflection in her head. Busy, you know how it is. Just vague enough.
Then, a friend from work tilted her head and asked, "Is your mom coming? I thought she'd be here." The question hung for a beat. Olivia's smile didn't flicker.
She couldn't make it.
The friend nodded, accepting the polite fiction, and moved toward the snacks. The moment passed.
The lie was easier than the truth. The truth would require a police report and a federal case.
Olivia excused herself to the kitchen and poured a glass of wine, the stem cool against her fingers. Olivia slipped onto the back porch, the party's laughter softening behind the closed door. Through the window, she watched her friends, silhouettes warm under the string lights. She pulled out her phone, the screen flaring in the dark. A notification. One new blocked voicemail from Mom.
The 47th call she'd never answer. Now a message she'd never hear.
She pressed delete. The notification vanished like a held breath released. For a moment, she stood alone in the quiet, the cold air a relief, the stars sharp above. Then she stepped back inside, the warmth of the house wrapping around her like a coat.
Everyone, can I have your attention? To new chapters. Thank you all for being part of this one.
The room lifted their glasses. The toast echoed, and for the first time, the little house felt whole. 20 miles away, Karen's living room was dark except for the TV's pale flicker. No string lights, no laughter. Her phone rested in her palm, the contact Olivia still blocked, the icon gray and unreachable. She pressed the call button anyway, a reflex. The silence that followed was the blocked tone.
She really did it. She cut the line and didn't even leave a crack.
She placed the phone face down on the cushion, the screen dark. No voicemail this time, no looping excuse. On the coffee table, the credit union letter was crumpled, a corner still visible, account closed. The television murmured something about holiday travel, but Karen didn't hear it. She just stared at the nothing in her lap.
The house was paid for with Olivia's name. The silence was earned.
She didn't curse, didn't cry. The tears had dried up somewhere between the fraud report and her daughter's toast. The screen faded to black on her face, the TV's glow cutting to nothing. Karen was alone. The last guest's taillights faded down the street. Olivia closed the front door and slid the deadbolt home. She moved through the kitchen, stacking wine glasses into the dishwasher, the clink of glass on rack the only sound. The string lights still glowed, casting soft arcs across the half-unpacked boxes.
2 months ago, she didn't know if she'd ever sign a closing paper. Now the house smelled like wine and laughter.
She walked to a box labeled childhood and pulled out a small, faded photo. A girl of 12 with braids and a gap-toothed smile, clutching a math trophy. Olivia at an age when she still believed her mother was proud. She carried the frame to the fridge, pulled off a magnetic clip, and pressed it against the steel door. The first personal thing, right at eye level.
That girl deserved a mother who'd ask before taking. She got a house she built alone. Not a bad trade.
She stepped to the kitchen window and looked out at the sold sign, still planted in the lawn, now catching the porch light. The little craftsman glowed against the night, each window alive with soft lamplight. The sold sign caught the porch glow, its pole straight, the words sold, final. No headlights on the street, no footsteps on the walk, just crickets and stillness. Inside, Olivia's silhouette moved past the living room window, unhurried, at peace. The camera pulled back slowly, the house shrinking to a bright rectangle in the dark. The sold sign remained, a small white mark against the lawn, holding the story together. The frame faded to black, the image dissolving like a held breath released. Then, in the center of the dark, clean white letters appeared. She signed my name twice. The letters held for a beat, then faded out, leaving only the dark and the end of a story. Morning light fell across the kitchen floor, the room emptied of party but full of something quieter. She paused at the fridge, the childhood photo catching the light, the girl with the gap-toothed smile still believing. Olivia pressed the magnet flat, a tiny ritual. Then she opened the window above the sink. Outside, the sold sign stood in the same spot, its shadow sharp on the dew-damp grass. She sat at the small kitchen table, a mug warming her hands. The house hummed with nothing but the refrigerator. Her phone lay face down, no buzz, no blocked notifications. The silence was no longer heavy. She pulled a notebook from the drawer, the one with house docs, and opened it to a blank page. She wrote, "First week, still boxes, still mine." The pen moved slowly, each word a claim. She closed the cover, then leaned back, her eyes drifting to the window. The sold sign seemed to nod in the breeze. The camera held on the quiet house, the morning light, and the woman who had signed her own name back into her life.